We're on the march. The Empire's on the run. Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
Introducing Secret 12, the new InfoWars Life vitamin B12 formulation. Most forms of vitamin B12 are highly processed and synthetic and could not be properly absorbed by the body. That's why for real results, so many are having to turn to painful B12 injections, which are known to have higher absorption rates. Now, InfoWarsLife.com is excited to announce that we can bring you our most bioactive, powerful form of B12 that has been developed with our exclusive perfected process. Secret 12 is a binary of nutramedical grade, bioavailable coenzyme forms of B12, methylcobalamin, the same kind used in B12 injections, and adenosylcobalamin. Secret 12 is simply taken by mouth, right on the tongue, and then swallowed. No needles, no injections. Don't take my word for it. Try it for yourself. Discover the secret. Secret 12. Secure your revolutionary Secret 12 formula right now at InfoWarsLife.com or call 888-253-3139.
When I first got online and I seen the price of the X2 and the DNA Force, I was a little hesitant, but I pulled the trigger on it. It has changed my life. I've been taking it for about 24 days now, counting the weight, staying in shape.
InfoWarsLife.com. You've heard the callers to the show.
Several months back, I started taking your Nascent Iodine and your Super Meal. Prior to this, I was barely walking. Now I'm able to function as a human again.
Whether it's Survival Shield, Nascent Iodine, or DNA Force, Super Male Vitality, Super Female Vitality, Lung Cleanse, Fluoride Shield, Oxy Powder. I believe that all of these products will blow you away like they've done the thousands of other customers that have visited InfoWarsLife.com.
Dash 2, just amazing what it's able to do to actually detox the body. It's great stuff.
If I'm going to promote something, it's got to be something I personally use and that I believe in. Check out InfoWarsLife.com today and the entire line of groundbreaking, cutting-edge, hardcore products.
When you're out on the road, the last place you want to be is on the road. But if the unfortunate happens, you'll be glad you were wearing diamond gussets.
There's a place down in Tennessee where they make blue diamond gusset jeans. They show pride in every stitch, guarantee you love the way they fit. They put a diamond gusset in the crotch where you need it most. Blue diamond gussets got it, others don't.
We turn jeans inside out. Diamond gusset jeans, made in the USA with unparalleled quality. Our Defender motorcycle jeans combine gusset comfort with Kevlar protection, so you can ride all day with confidence. Order yours at gusset.com. Diamond gusset jeans got it, others don't.
Resistance to tyrants is obedience to God. It's Alex Jones.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight in Austin. We were just talking to Paul Joseph Watson in the UK. We're going to be joining our reporters in Ferguson in the next hour, waiting the grand jury verdict there and to see how the public is going to react, the protesters that are there. I'm going to go to callers, but before I do, I want to tell you about something we offer that's free, and that's our new newsletter, the InfoWars Underground Insider. Every day, we're seeing attempts to censor the internet with sites like Infowars.com now blocked around the world because it doesn't fall in line with establishment propaganda viewpoints. From CISPA to SOPA, your ability to access real news is under attack. But you can escape internet censorship right now. Get the latest in breaking news, exclusive behind-the-scenes videos, daily stories that are not available on Infowars.com, that are only viewable by newsletter subscribers. This week, we are launching some very huge specials on InfoWars Gear and InfoWars Life that are entirely unprecedented and only available notification to newsletter subscribers. It'll be available to everybody, but they will be given advance notice 24 hours beforehand of when these specials are coming out. You can get that by subscribing to our newsletter, the InfoWars Underground Insider, right now on the homepage sidebar at Infowars.com or visit Infowars.com/newsletter. You get exclusive daily content and today's behind-the-scenes video, as well as checking out our previous exclusive newsletter content. So that's there. That's available to you. Let's go to some of our callers. We've got John in Texas. Looks like you wanted to talk about what Paul and I were just talking about, this breaking pedophile scandal in the UK. And, of course, it's happened over and over again in the United States, the highest levels of government, in Belgium with the EU. Go ahead, John in Texas.
Hello, David.
Hi.
Hi, yeah, I've been following this issue for quite some time, and I don't know that these people are ever going to be brought to justice, because it goes into the royal family as well with this Jimmy Savile character.
Yeah.
He used to procure boys for a former Prime Minister, Edward Heath, in the English Channel on the island of Jersey back in the day, and it's absolutely disgusting. There's over 100,000 children go missing in Britain every year, and you never hear about it.
Yes.
It's never in the news. That's a substantial amount of missing kids.
Now, this is Scottish John. I recognize your voice. I love the promo that we've got.
That's correct, mate.
I want to get your take on this. You're a good one to talk to about this, because earlier this year we had the law that was passed in Scotland that was going to assign a government minder to children from birth to 18 or 21. Now we're seeing that being proposed in the United States on the back of the Sandy Hook shooting. They're using that to push this through, and of course they have $160 million in funding from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Department of Education to put this through. They're very concerned about this. They're using the fact that this young man was reportedly homeschooled by his mother, so they say, we need to be able to penetrate the family and have government minders. Give us your take on what's going on in Scotland and the irony that the government would be doing this for the children when we see at the highest levels of government they've used Child Protective Services to abduct children for their own use.
Well, I've been aware of it, David, since it first broke, but it's not something I've paid a lot of attention to because I'm long gone far away, so it's of no great interest to me other than that, it's just more government intrusion, let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm deeply saddened that the independence vote was lost for Scotland there recently, because I think a lot of things would have changed then. But, the establishment doesn't, they don't want this to happen, and they're going to use everything at their disposal.
Absolutely.
Just to maintain the status quo, basically.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you so much. It's good to hear your voice. It's John in Texas. I want to go to Larry in Illinois, but before I do, let me read you a little bit about this report that came out based on the Sandy Hook school shooting. Now, they said that they're concerned about siloed systems of education, physical health, and mental health care for children. In other words, areas that are private. When they talk about it being siloed, they say that it strongly implicates the need to assist parents with understanding and addressing the needs of children with complex development and mental health disorders. They say universal, and this is a report from James F. Tracy. We've interviewed him on the show many times. He did a good job in getting this out and analyzing it. So read some of the details from this report. They're calling for universal screening for behavioral health and developmental impairment for children from ages 21, from ages birth to 21. They want to assess to training and information concerning mental health issues for teachers, administrators, service personnel, pediatricians, and parents. In other words, they're going to train anybody that the child might come in contact with at school or a doctor or whatever. They want to train them as informants for the government. Just like we've seen people calling 911 and getting 2 people killed recently who had nothing but BB guns, basically calling in to the police and saying, in one case, even saying, I think it's probably a toy weapon, a fake gun. Nevertheless, the police showed up and shot this young man. In Walmart, it's even more egregious. The guy who called 911 kind of hyped it up for the police, and they wound up shooting the guy dead without even giving him a chance to put down the BB gun that he was going to buy in Walmart that he was walking around the store with. So do we really want to have trained professionals who've been trained by Homeland Security and the Department of Education to finger parents? We just had a family we talked about the early part of the show. They had essentially their house broken into, the parents pepper sprayed, tasered, their children taken away because they were accused of having a messy house. Is that what we're going to see with this? Let's go on with some of the other things. They're going to address, of course, also the, quote, role of denial in illness. So if you think that everything is fine in your home and you don't need intervention from the state, maybe you're just in denial and we need to do something about it. That's all the more reason for us to get involved in your life. They want to have a better outreach to parents who have difficulties, quote, reaching out. So in other words, if you're not going to the government for help, if you don't have your kids in a government school, then you have difficulty reaching out. Perhaps you feel, quote, mistrust in the medical and educational systems. No doubt. I do. You should. If you don't feel mistrust in them, why should we trust them explicitly for everything? Why should we give them carte blanche in our life? That was never the way this country was founded. This country was founded with checks and balances because we understand that simply because somebody works for the government, they don't become an angel. They still have the same problems that everybody else does. If we had angels, then we wouldn't need that kind of oversight, but we don't. We can have good people in government. We can have bad people in government. We need to keep that arm's length there. They also want state consideration of an audit of existing homebound practices and procedures. They get very close to saying homeschool, don't they? But they say homebound practices and procedures. And finally, they say, this is the summary that we get from James Tracy. He says, in reality, the OCA report lays bare the groundwork for implementation of a nationwide program similar to the one presently being beta tested in Scotland called Getting It Right for Every Child, where they are going to where they've mandated an assignment of a named person, a government minder, for every child and young person, and a lead professional that renders the traditional family role of a distant caretaker. Understand that this is a globalist agenda because we see the same goals, the same tactics being used in Scotland that they are now proposing, piggybacking this off of the Sandy Hook situation and being funded by $160 million from our federal government. Let's go to a caller here. Larry in Illinois, would you like to, you said you wanted to talk about Ferguson and about the pedophile situation. Go ahead.
Well, you know, he kind of picked up on my thunder, the first caller there. And, you know, I'm thinking here when you're talking, we're kind of talking these subjects to death, our own death. This country is responsible for a lot of these subjects that we talk about worldwide, and it's because money, the love of money, the root of all evil, has gotten into the system. And if they can't buy people off like they've done, they'll do it through the electronic voting and that. And us being responsible for this, David, has got to stop.
Yes.
They have mere mundane, earthly things that they protest in other countries, even Russia. People will get in the public square and let the powers that be know that we're not going to put up with this anymore. And we just sit back here and talking this thing all the time and it just gets to be the same old thing. And it's also disillusioning to hear people or just see people sit by along with myself. And if we're not going to come out of our houses, folks, I mean, the world's just going to keep getting worse. And
well, I think I think, Larry, it is a case of education. It is a case of the info war. And I do believe that people are waking up. It's frustrating for you. It's frustrating for those of us who have been awake for a while to look at the people who are still asleep, and yet we are seeing signs that people are starting to wake up, and some people are not being shut down again by just putting this into a racial paradigm. We look at the police brutality, for example, and the article that I read earlier about Anonymous getting involved in the Beaver Creek Walmart in Ohio, that shooting there, and demanding that some action be taken. But yeah, we do have a very passive American public, don't we? It's part of it, I think, is basically it's a control grid that is what we are fed as far as information. And I think there's a component of it that's what we're fed in our food and water supply. It helps to pacify us more so than in other countries. But putting minders in charge of